Welcome back, everybody, to Catching You. I am your co-host, Rusty Ham. This is part 2 with Savannah Jones and her father, Jason Jones. Enjoy.
Okay, so let's transition to the Bandits. You guys, obviously, that put a lot of toll on you. It wasn't anything that Brooks Cherry did. It was just more, this is not good for a 12-year-old or 11 or 12-year-old at the time. So you guys go to the Bandits. Seems like it was a great fit because Bandit program, from what I understand, is very competitive and they're very good. Like you said, I think they won national championships. So describe that move and how that felt.
Yeah, we had an opportunity. There was a new Bandit team forming out of Indianapolis area, so close to where we're from. So a satellite team, and it was with a coach we had known for a long time. It was actually one of our friends. So he was already friends of ours, and he played at a really high level. But he got an opportunity to coach the team and put that together. And again, he lived 20 minutes from where we live. He built a big indoor facility for the girls to have our own practices in, and we got back together with about half of the Gator team, I would say, that Savannah started with, and then recruited the rest of the girls from the Midwest. So it was, the first year was a little rough, brand new team, but we put it together and ended up with a team of 16, 17 girls that went, most of them Power 5 Division I ball. So it was a very good team, and we always played the best around the country too. But we ultimately ended up with multiple girls coming in from 10 to 12 hours away to our team too. So it was a big commitment for a lot of other people as well.
So Savannah, you're on this new team. Describe, because both of your, you guys were similar as you guys are growing up, but Lacie, unfortunately got that injury. She got it all hit back to her in the head. And so there was some, during that, it was a crucial time for the recruiting, because remember you guys, when you guys were freshmen, that's when they changed the rule.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I recruited 8th grade, right?
Yeah. That summer after freshman year of high school was when literally everyone because I was on Mark Campbell's team at the time, everyone on that team was going to Oregon, Florida, UCF, you name it, U of A. And that summer I was like, this is it. This is the summer. Yep. Didn't even have
Same thing here. It was freshman year was crazy. That was my freshman year. I actually went to a different high school. Like my pitching coach had coached at the town over, and I ended up going there. And so I remember literally I got in trouble with the school because I had gone on too many visits. They only allowed 3 misses for visits, and the school was literally mad at me for missing too many school days to go on visit. Yeah, I know. I was like, but it was freshman year. I remember it was always very heavy recruiting. I think that was what sucked is my injury that I got surgery on my freshman year of college. I think it started in I think fall of my freshman year. We were playing in Chattanooga and it was too cold. And I remember pitching and I didn't have it under Armour on because I'm stubborn. And I remember my arms went numb, and that was when my injury started. But not only that, but I also had a stress fracture in my foot on and off too from landing. Just so much pitching and overuse. In the years that I'd done it, it just finally started to weigh down on my body. And unfortunately, it was right what felt like in the middle of all the recruiting. And it definitely sucked as a 15-year-old who just got into high school, getting college offers and having to understand what it means and trying to make that decision at such a young age. It was definitely challenging for me to even see myself in college, not even thinking about making a decision on where I wanted to go or what I wanted to do. So it was like a blessing and a curse at the same time, because while it half of the time it ruined recruiting, because everything, all the coaches that you had in contact with and offers just swept off the table after the rule came in. But at the same time, it also gave me some more time to figure out who I was as a person, what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. But both a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Yep.
So she ultimately didn't commit at that early age because the offer she was really looking for did not come through. I had several others on the table, but she had been on a visit to Duke and had her mindset that she was going to Duke. They had us down for 3 full days, and the Duke head coach said, "I've never seen you pitch," but Lacie Waltrip, the pitching coach there, had watched Savannah pitch a game down in Georgia, and she's, "You're it. We want you." But the head coach would not commit her without ever watching her. So it just was right at the end of that recruiting window when that happened. And Savannah said, "You know what, Dad, after going to a lot of visits, she's Duke said, I'm going to Duke," but that offer did not come through.
Same thing happened to me.
Yep.
With UNC. So right across the room.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Kind of like, yeah. Well, instead of it being from my injury, it was because of COVID.
Yeah.
So
Went all right on a visit.
Yep, went to UNC with the whole visit, camp. It was amazing. I was telling my dad, and I specifically remember walking with the coaches, doing the campus tour. He's like, "Do you really want to go to school 3,000 miles away?" And I said, "Yeah, I do. I do. I want to go here."
Then they go.
And I was taking certain classes to go to this school and everything.
Wow.
And March happened, and that weekend they were supposed to come in and fly in to watch our high school tournament, like our big high school tournament with our SoCal teams. And they said, "Can't come, sorry." And the reason why they did not offer was because they never saw me pitch in person. So that was
Well, similar path. Yes.
Yeah.
Love it. Jason, let's talk a little bit about being a bucket dad.
Yeah.
I tell a story all the time with Lacie. I wasn't hard on her. Personality wise, I wasn't.
They were never.
Oh, my personality was when she did bad, I would just ignore her. And 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old, she's like, "Why is my dad ignoring me?" And that was passive aggressive. I would just shun her. I'd be like, "I don't want to talk to you. You had a crappy pitching session. I don't want to talk to you." And she, "Oh." And so she had enough.
I was talking about like homework or something, and he is just ignoring me.
Yeah. If she gets enough on a test, I'm okay with that. But if you don't hit
Right.
I get pissed.
Right. Yeah.
Kitchen, just balling right off, just going, "I don't understand what's wrong." And so at that moment, I'm like, you know what? I need to back off a little bit. I still was hard on her, but I changed my outlook, which was I need to be a little more positive, understanding, because I've never pitched before. How do I know? How do I know how to? I've never slow pitch fast or whatever, fast pitch softball. So describe you as a bucket dad, and then what would you do for different?
Yeah. I would say I was very dedicated to being a bucket dad, but I was pretty hard on Savannah as a pitcher, right? And again, I think a lot of it was expectations on the team we were on were very high. So I'm really pushing her to be the very best she can be. So I had the same pressure I think that she had, right? Because if you're traveling the country and your play time depends on how you're doing as a pitcher. And if you're not one of the best 3 of 3 super studs or 4, you're not pitching. So I was really I had the highest expectations for her because it was a huge commitment. And we had some really rough days for sure. And at times I'm certain Savannah would tell you I would get very upset, but then it would just, the next day we could flip that. And I pushed really hard for her to be very good. Again, I think the whole thing, there's a lot of pressure on all of us to be good at a 13, 14-year-old age. And one of the things I did appreciate about Savannah is I didn't have to push her to go practice. I could ask her, but a lot of times she would ask me. But we had a very dedicated multiple day a week for many years practices. So she learned changeup. She was really good at changeup at 10U. By 12U, she was throwing a completely perfect backspin rise ball. Never did learn drop ball till a later age because I couldn't deal with it. I just mentally couldn't deal with it. I never wore any gear. I never wore a face mask. I never wore shin guards. I'd get knocked off that bucket over and over by a 60-mile-an-hour drop ball hitting 3 foot in front of me and bouncing up and hitting me. I couldn't take it mentally very well. And I was too stubborn to wear gear. I liked my teeth. I didn't want to lose them. Anyway, it wasn't really until late in her career that she learned to drop ball. And so now she's a rise ball, drop ball, change up pitcher, but it took a long time to get to the drop. Yeah.
I don't, when she does a bullpen with me, we don't do drop because I like my shins.
I don't even try. And I don't even mention drop ball to him.
I don't either. Neither. It's pointless.
No, I would catch it now. I feel as at later in your career, Savannah she has more control over it. After you've been to college, you have more control over it. And I'll catch it now, but can't catch quite as good as I used because she's gone, right? So I don't do this very often. So catching her now is a challenge for me after she's gone to college 9, 10 months a year. She comes home at Christmas and says, "Hey, let's go pitch." I'm like, ooh, this is hard now. So
He loves long tosses.
Long toss is my best.
yes, I can catch long toss. No problem.
Part of mine is I can't see. It's
Yeah.
hard.
That's yeah.
So Jason, if you can go back 10 years and talk to yourself 10 years ago, is there anything you would say differently or do differently?
Yeah, I think if I were to go back, I would. And again, as time went on, I think I got more patience. But again, honestly, I've got a younger daughter who's a pitcher as well, and I cannot deal with her. I can't deal with her in the same way I did Savannah. Savannah was hard enough on herself that I could really push her in a different way. But my younger daughter, I cannot work with her in the same way. I have to be patient with her. I have to be quiet or she will turn it off and not do anything. So I've got 2 different girls that have 2 different personalities. And I would like to tell you that I'd go back and do it differently with Savannah, but she responded better to being pushed hard. And that's just how that was. That's her mentality as well. So at times though, I pushed it too far. I'm certain. So
The funniest part was like, if we would ever get like in an argument, which happened quite often because while he was hard, I'm also a little mouthy. I definitely was back then, probably still am now. It's okay. But if we would get into an argument, he'd be like, "I'm done. We're not doing this anymore. We're done. I'm quitting. I'm not coaching. You're not playing. We're done." Never actually happened, but I got that threat, I think, probably 30 times.
I think it's got to be fun though. So for me, this experience has to be good for everybody. It has to be fun for your daughter. It has to be fun for you as a dad. And if it gets to a point that it's miserable, which at times it felt that way, even though it wasn't, you got to turn the ship and you got to figure something out. And I would never say I wanted to quit. I'm sure I said that to Savannah many
It was
times.
just dramatic.
That's how frustrating it gets though. That's how rough it actually could be. This cannot be fun at times. And so you got to work through that. And I didn't work through it in the best way at times. And I can admit that for sure. It's hard.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Lace. Sorry.
We talked about it a lot earlier, but we wouldn't argue. He said he would kind of just be a little silent and I could read that he was upset, but he would throw the ball really hard at me. And that's when I knew.
I would roll it back to Savannah when I got mad. I just roll it real slow.
Or he would just miss it and then I have to go chase after it. Oops, I missed it. Go get it now.
So you said something, Jason, because of the team you were playing on, there was some pressure, right? So we're playing with Chris Garcia and he would always say, and this was when we were 12 years, my job is to get you on Mark Campbell and Mike Stiff's team. And so at that, I was like, that's the ultimate goal. So I was putting pressure on her, like she has to perform. And part of me was, and when I talked about it in other episodes, part of me was, it was me. If she failed, then I was a failure as a dad. I started feeling, looking back, if she failed, then it was my fault. And I needed to get over that real quick because it's not my fault.
One thing I always think I tried to do personally was I didn't allow anybody to outwork us, right? So there was other girls I think that might have had more talent than Savannah, right? There were some girls on our team that were just naturally gifted. And Savannah's naturally gifted too, but I would not allow anybody to outwork us. She was not the biggest, strongest pitcher on the team, but she wouldn't be outworked. And so she was always competitive with our power pitchers, our other type pitchers. And I could tell you at that 12, 13-year-old age, Savannah wasn't a big kid. She was small and she didn't throw the ball the hardest. And I can tell you, many people told us that Savannah would never play Division I softball. She's not big enough. She's not going to be big enough. Again, oh yeah, we heard it many times. And I actually kept a voicemail from somebody that left me that for years. And I would listen to it every now and then just to motivate me to prove them wrong. And so I didn't allow her to be outworked. So we always worked really hard at it. And yeah, so that was something we took a lot of pride in, was that.
One thing that when you say like no one would outwork us, I remember with my dad is, we would always get to practice a little, like 15 minutes earlier than we were supposed to. So I could, Dad, do you remember why you had me doing that?
I wanted you to just start doing your spins when they were showing up.
Yep.
So like, being prepared for making sure like I'm ready to go when the pitching session begins at
Yep.
8 a.m. before the whole practice starts, like making sure I'm there before everyone else, doing what I need to do. And now I have a fear of being late. So that's on him.
You're welcome.
Yeah, on him. But that kind of ties into not letting anyone outwork us. And you carry that forever, really.
It sounds like, which is cool. And our episode that came out this morning was full circle because she went. I don't know if you guys know about Mary Nutter. You guys heard Mary Nutter.
Yeah, yeah.
So when she was real young, 12, she would go to the games, get autographs from the girls. And then she played in it this last week. She was giving, she was giving, so it was full circle. What I'm hearing from our conversation, I didn't know this was going to happen. Just there's so many similarities between Savannah and Lacie and me and you, Jason. It's cool to hear how we met in 10, they're 10 years old, and now they're 22 years old, 12 years later. And their path is very similar, especially leaving teams and going to the right one. Savannah, talk about Bucknell. Why Bucknell? And how has your experience been so far?
Yeah, Tom, like, I'm not gonna lie, I fully believe everything happens for a reason. I think that God has a path for all of us. And the way that I got to Bucknell was definitely, it was unusual. It was a weird, I committed to Penn State. I had gone on a visit to Bucknell, but the old coaches wanted to get my ACT score before offering me. And the Penn State coach offered me. The Bucknell coach, she also was like a Canadian Olympian, and she had no idea who I was when I went in to get like to talk to him. Like she was like, "You're the kid that needs to work on our changeup," and I was like, "Nah, you got the wrong girl, my guy. It's not me." Yeah, I was like, "Ooh." And so ultimately, I really liked the pitching coach at Penn State, who, surprise, surprise, is my head coach now at Bucknell. So I ended up following the pitching coach at Penn State to Bucknell. What's crazy about the whole situation was I remember very specifically, like, driving with my dad an hour up to our pitching lessons. And I was like, man, I don't know what to do. Like, I have a bad vibe with the new coach, and I feel like I might be leaning to do something different. I feel like this might not be the path for me. And I remember talking to him about it, and I was like, and it was like so ironic. Like that day we'd seen that the pitching coach at Penn State took the head coach at Bucknell. And I'd actually really liked Bucknell. And I remember telling my dad, like, this place like feels like it has that homey feeling, like it feels like home in a way. And this is before I ever, went there or anything like that. But I liked it, but it was the coaches was the reason I hadn't gone there. And I had to take a chance to call up the coach and see if she even had any interest in me playing there. But I just remember being like, it feels like God is pushing me towards going through this path. It just feels right in a way. And I feel I need to do it. I feel like I need to see what she thinks. And sure enough, it worked. Not only did it work out really well because she was more than happy to have me, but I've been roommates with one of my childhood best friends from multiple of my younger travel teams that I played with at 10, 14, just 11, like all kinds of. And so it has been a wonderful experience for me. And it's so great that I have my best friend here that I was able to grow up with and am now able to share all these experiences with her. So I've loved it. It's in a smaller school, very prestigious, very schoolwork heavy, academic wise, but I really love it here. I make an impact here, and I can pitch, hit, play the outfield. I do a little bit of everything, which definitely keeps me busy, but it has been great. And I think another thing is, especially with having surgery my freshman year of college, I think that had I gone to a bigger school, there's no chance that I would have gotten to pitch until I was a senior.
Or
Because I remember sophomore year recovering just like it had been 8 months, but spring season rolls around and I'm only allowed to throw 2 innings. I had to work up from 2 innings to 3, and it slowly worked up, but it was a long process. And the fact that I was able to go somewhere where they still let me work out my kinks and everything from surgery was so helpful. And I just believe truly in my heart that I was meant to be here. Yeah.
that's awesome. And it just goes to show you, and you guys were probably in the same situation, Beverly Bandits and Batbusters. Back then it was a Power 5 or nothing, right? If you're playing for the Power 5 or nothing. And obviously we didn't get any looks her senior year. You weren't even close to getting any calls from any of those places. We should have made the move earlier to go to a kind of the same organization that would go for a lower, like a mid-major type of, but we didn't do. We were staying strong with Stiff because he's going to get us to the promised land, and it never happened. This goes to show you that yes, Duke was your number one, and this is where I want to go. But look at you now. You're at a place that you love, and you're still playing, and you're able to hit. There's more pitchers hitting this year than I've ever seen ever, and that's cool that you're able to finish your college career at a place that you love, and then you're getting the innings, you're getting the bats, and it doesn't matter about you don't have to go to the World Series and be on the ESPN to have a successful college career.
Yeah, I would say that, and something I would say to the other kids listening, the Power 5 deal is phenomenal, right? No question. There's a lot more perks to that, I would say. However, something I've learned watching this over time and watching the girls I know that have done this, it's very important to go play. Wherever you go to play, you've got to be in that 50% plus as far as your abilities, because the experience at college is not as good if you're not playing. So to go play for the best team in the country and sit the bench is not necessarily the experience that Savannah wanted. I knew that wasn't her personality at all. And I think this is probably a better fit for her, because as being a pitcher only, that's fine. And that's what she was on the Beverly Bandits, right? We carry 16, 17 kids. You got to make everybody happy. She was a pitcher only, but I think she enjoys softball more when she was hitting and playing outfield and a part of every game. And that's the opportunities that Bucknell's given her, is to bat and play pretty much every inning of every game and be an impact player all the time. And I think she enjoys that more.
Cool. The biggest takeaway that when we were deciding to leave Stiff and the Batbusters was we should have trusted our gut earlier. We had a feeling that we should have left earlier, but we were so this is what we're supposed to do. We made a decision earlier, and her college career could be different. She could be at a different college, but just all, like you said, Savannah, the San Jose State coach gets fired, and the new coaching, some girls left because they didn't think it was right. And so all of a sudden, all this money opens up, and she starts, Lacie gets recruited by San Jose. So it's like you said, things happen for a reason. And Lacie, you got recruited by San Jose because of something that happened prior to that. So awesome stuff. Any parting words, Jason and Savannah?
No, I think it's, for me, I'll just say that for all the girls watching, right? Chase your dreams and work hard, right? If you're a pitcher, you got to work hard at it. But it can definitely take you to amazing places if you put in the time and work, right? We've traveled the country as a family to watch softball. I think we've been to each coast multiple times and the central part of the country. And we've had to sacrifice a lot as a family, but it's also been very rewarding as a family and to get the opportunities we've got through this.
Nice. Savannah?
I would say my big takeaway would be that obviously there's a lot that gets put into all of the hours and time and money and effort that gets put into softball. So for the younger kids, just be thankful for your parents and your coaches, because they put in a lot for you. And yeah.
Very true.
Very true.
Very true.
Yeah, we see a lot of girls take advantage. They're not as thankful as you guys. So I appreciate that. Go Bucket Dads, Jason.
For sure. Be
Yes.
patient, dads. Be patient, bucket dads, for sure. Don't be like,
Yeah. Shoot, you guys coming on. This is awesome. Lace, I love you.
Love you.
And everybody else.
Thank you for having us.
yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, catch you guys on the other side. Hang on just a second, and then we'll get you guys out of here.